Here comes the Sunday edition of the latest updates to Helldivers 2, and as expected, Arc is back on the menu with some significant buffs to key areas that will take this once feared strat back close to its former glory. Welcome to the channel. This is LtBuzzLitebeer, and I almost never post videos on Sunday, but the Buff Diver update is just days away, and we received yet another broadcast from Helldivers HQ. It's also a critical stage for our current major order, and decisions have to be made with reinforcements required. We've got another clarification I need to cover, and of course, we're back with your top 3 comments. But before we dive into all the latest, I wanted to first thank you for your awesome and continued support for my Helldivers uploads. And just in case you haven't done so already, please take a moment to hit subscribe and to ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. And let's get stuck into all the latest news from Helldivers. Very quickly as we check in on the current major order, and this is not the kind of news we want to be receiving, but right now we have just a shade over 24 hours to go in this current major order. The warrior kill counts are looking pretty good. We're at 67 million of the required 100 million, so no real issues there. But if you take a look at the bile spewers, we are severely behind. We've only hit just over 10 million, and we've been tasked with killing 45 million bile spewers. And we talked about this in yesterday's video, the fact that they are not a guaranteed spawn on bug missions. Also, while we're here on the galactic table, take a look at today's daily or personal order. It's just under 20 hours to go. This is going to be good for a very easy 15 medals. Just kill 35 warriors, and that ties in nicely to the bug kill count portion of the major order. Switching views, but staying on the topic of the major order, and we're now over on the Helldivers companion app. By the way, link is always available to the site down in the video description. It is an invaluable source of information, but as you can see, now we can actually take a look at the 2 hidden portions of the major order, the 2 planets we've been asked to liberate so that we can unlock the orbital napalm barrage. Those being Mastia and Tarsh, both over in Bottsville. Now, if you take a look at Tarsh first, the site's predicting our victory in over a week. Obviously, there's an issue there because we have 24 hours to go. Mastia is looking much better. Predicted victory in under 6 hours with roughly 7,300 active divers planetside right now. So if we could get just maybe half of the current bug divers over onto these bot planets, we might stand a chance. It's a slim chance, but we might stand a chance of unlocking those orbital napalm barrages. Also, while we're here, I want you to take a look down at like Pandion 24, predicted victory in 2 years, 3 months. So we need those divers, all 9,000 of you bug divers over there, over onto the bot planets, please and thank you. And as I mentioned in the intro, Arc is back on the menu, and we got the latest announcement over on Twitter and in the official Helldivers Discord concerning the Arc Thrower. It says the Arc Thrower will get closer to its former glory. Notice they didn't say all the way back to its former glory, to its OG status, but closer, with some extra on the top. A moderate stun effect is added that builds up on its targets. I'm going to be interested to see how that is monitored in the game, and the range got an increase from 35 to 55. We'll cover that in a little bit. 55 is actually, I believe, a little bit stronger than what the original range was on the Arc Thrower. Also, durable damage will be increased from 50 to 100. We've covered durable damage in a previous video. That is a massive, massive buff for the Arc Thrower. And did we mention it now jumps additional times? Hashtag buff divers. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the latest little media splash and announcement here from Johan and Nicholas, and then I'll be back with some thoughts on the Arc Thrower because it's been through quite a bit in the past.
My name is Johan Pilestedt.
And I'm Niklas Malmborg.
Today we're diving into the patch notes of Helldivers 2. Some people love it, some people hate it. The Arc Thrower.
Yeah, so we're bringing it back closer to its former glory, plus them some more. Its range is now currently 35 meters. We took it up to 55. It will jump additional times and branch off.
And that includes your friends as well.
Yes. of course.
Okay. So more volatile, more powerful, kill your friends.
Yeah, and it has the stun effect.
Oh, right.
Oh man, where do you start with the arc thrower and with arc weapons in general? Well, I went back and did the research. This begins on March the 26th. This is the first time that arc is mentioned anywhere in the patch notes. Keep in mind that Helldivers 2 launched in early February. We're talking late March. And this was an emergency ask of the community and an eventual hotfix because arc in general, was causing a major chain crashing issue within the game. Now, it was eventually fixed, but so begins this downward spiral and fall from grace for the arc thrower. Just a few days later, April the 2nd, we get our second major balance patch introduced into the game. This is patch 200. Within it, 3 major changes to the arc thrower itself. First off, the devs went in and they wanted to fix the charging inconsistencies. Their verbiage, not mine. And they made it so the weapon would take a consistent 1 second to charge a shot. Now, before that, of course, that first initial windup of the arc thrower took quite a while, but then after that, you could kind of ride the trigger and get it to shoot much faster. After this fix, you could still get it to shoot a bit faster than 1 second, but it was definitely not firing as fast as it used to. Also within that patch, they reduced the overall distance of the arc thrower from 50 meters down to 35 meters. That was significant, especially for the upcoming enemy variant types we would see later on in the game, especially the flyers. And finally, the third fix in that patch, they increased the stagger force of the arc thrower. So they took away effective range, but they added on stagger force, and that was significant because you could take the arc thrower in versus the bots and you could stun lock hulks, and it made this weapon super effective. A little known fact here, on April the 9th, arc weapons will sometimes misfire, shows up for the very first time on the known issues board. And in the last time, I believe that we saw anything to do with the arc thrower in the patch notes, shows up on April the 29th. This was our third major balance patch, patch 300. This was a bit of a sneaky one here because it did not mention the arc thrower. But the change was, of course, to reduce how much stun lock we can throw on hulks. And it said hulks, force required for them to stagger slightly increased. Now, if you read between the lines on the patch notes, you could instantly see that was there to nerf the effectiveness of the arc thrower stagger effects and stun lock effects on those larger targets. So effectively, it took away the one real strength of the arc thrower. And since then, we've seen nothing to do with this poor stratagem. But that's in the past. That's all, as they say, water under the bridge. We're looking forward to Tuesday's Buff Diver update. And what will these arc thrower changes mean for the everyday diver who's choosing to use this stratagem? Well, number one, that is a massive effective range increase from 35 meters up to 55 meters. Now, 35 was puny. And not only are they taking it back to the OG status of 50 meters, but they're adding on an additional 5 meters of range. What's that going to mean to you if you're rocking the arc thrower? Number one, you're going to be able to reach out and touch targets at a much further distance. Also, it's going to mean you can engage the flyers now, shriekers, gunships, things like that. Where you couldn't in the past, you will now have the ability to reach out and touch them as well. Also, that durable damage increase, doubling it from 50 up to 100 is going to make the arc thrower an animal if you can hit these durable body parts. That is, of course, an issue with the arc thrower. You don't always hit what you're aiming at. It kind of arcs around. Sometimes you're going to hit it. Sometimes you're not. It's not exactly the most precision-based weapon. Also, they mentioned it down there that it jumps additional times. So not only will it hit that first target, but it's going to chain connect to the target behind there and the target behind there. I, for one, loved using the arc thrower in certain instances when it was basically the OG weapon, and then after that, with the range decrease, the stagger decrease, I gravitated to other weapons from there. But I love using this weapon. It's a bit of a wild stallion. You're going to kill some teammates with this thing for sure. You might end up doing some PvP if you kill them too many times, but I'm looking forward to what this weapon does in Tuesday's patch. And now it's time for your top 3 comments from my last Helldivers video. And by the way, if you want to see your name and your comment up in lights in my next Helldivers upload, you first need to let it fly on this one. That's right, you gotta drop me a comment, and who knows, it might be upvoted enough so that it reaches into the top 3. Just like this one in the top spot, here comes the second correction, FML. I've just been completely wrong twice now. I guess my mind must still be in the Battlefield days, but this one's from Limey Ishin, and it says 80% collision means the rocket hitboxes are reduced 80% so it doesn't trigger explosion on players, as visually it does not touch the player. Currently, the rocket exploded even though it still has a distance from the player when it flies by, thus increasing the death rates of players significantly. This is similar to the airburst launcher, where it was so sensitive that if it flew past a rock, it would explode due to its collision hitbox was too large. Hitbox usually must be aligned with the model size to give the game a more realistic feel. Thank you so much for that. I don't know what I was thinking, so strike number 2, but you corrected me there. I appreciate it, and congrats on taking the top spot for this one. And in the 2 spot, and I'm probably going to butcher this name as well, I believe it's Froschreinger2639, who says they should make an Easter egg where every, well, it's a lot of zeros, that's what, 10 millionth shell for the Eruptor is from the OG Eruptor ammo stockpile, so you have a 1 in 10 million chance of getting one of those OG Eruptor shots out there. I mean, that would be interesting. I don't know about 10 million as far as the odds for that one. Maybe get it down to every 1 in 100th shot or something like that. You get this massive explosion off of the Eruptor. That would be pretty cool in my mind. I don't know. I'll look forward to some feedback as far as my suggestion on that, but congrats on taking the number 2 spot. And bringing up the caboose for this video's top 3 comments breakdown is Al Coven with this incredible suggestion. He says, it would be awesome if we could see Siege troops defending objectives on planets that come under attack. Oh, hell yes, I love this. Like have 10 Siege troops defending the missile silos with the generators. It would make it feel like we aren't the only ones fighting the war. I love this suggestion. I think this would add a lot of just chaotic, just craziness to our battles. I just finished up the Space Marine 2 campaign, and of course you've got the Cadians out there shooting and screaming. They've got their tanks, they've got their artillery. It just adds a lot to those battles over there on Warhammer 40k. So if we could add that in, just like you said, 10 Siege troops defending an objective, that alone would add just a lot of fun to our battles. Alrighty, sadly, that's all we've got time for today. Congrats to the top 3 comment winners for this video. Thank you once again now for the second clarification on that 80% collision change. I don't know where my mind is at. Like I said, too much Battlefield. After this video, I think I'm going to go bang my head on the wall. But what I'm looking forward to is your feedback about what you're feeling towards the game come next Tuesday once these buff diver changes are installed back into the game. For me, because I've been with the game for months and months and months, it feels like we're reverting the game back to the way it used to play before the rogue devs took over, before it was trying to become Tarkov in space. What I'm seeing here on paper reminds me of Helldivers, as I've called it in the past, 1.0. I loved that version of the game. It was all about the memes, it was all about the fun, and it wasn't about being competitive and sweaty. This feels like the game is reverting back to its early days, and I love it. And I'm looking forward to your feedback about not only the arc thrower changes, but all these changes that are listed out in general. Remember to hit subscribe and ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. All my socials, including all of today's sources, can be found down in the video description. A huge shout out goes out, as always, to the now over 243,000 of you incredible ladies and gents from across the planet who've already taken the plunge. You've taken the time to hit subscribe, and you tune in on the daily to support me and my content. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.